And we're back. Alright, last time we were here, I was throwing vehicle trains down holes into ditches. And I managed to get it back out again. Once I revived, came back around to it. Alright. It's a nice thing about the small buggies, although they did add aluminum to the cost, which means not only is it a little bit more expensive than before, but you can't just dirt farm it. You cannot just dirt farm a buggy really fast. The small rover used to be 2 jars, 2 seconds, 2 cans of dirt, I mean, of course. 2 cans, 2 seconds. You had a chair, you had your buggy. You were all set. Look, there's a missing ship right here. I'm gonna laugh if there's nothing over by that one. They got offset really bad. Alright, but let's look at what we're doing here. That looks good. Maybe that was too far. No, it's fine. So we've got the Super Scrapper over 9,000. Is it really worth it, you might ask, to have 2 shredders to eliminate the tiniest bit of overlap and waiting? And sacrificing that extra storage space I could have had? I don't know. No idea. Mentally, it's worth it. It'll definitely change the way I do the scrapping. You know, normally I roll in and I put in one of those things that I just dropped off. And then I save this guy for last with everything else in between so that, you know, it's going while I'm driving off. I'm not, you know, standing around waiting for it. No. Now I can just start throwing stuff in and there won't be nearly as much of a wait. Oh, that's still technically buried. Even though I should have been able to just yank it out. I hate these blades. There's never enough surface area to grab, and when you dig, they start rolling. Alright, well, fine, I'll just take the table then. You know, something like this comes along and interrupts your flow. So you gotta stand around and you're waiting and waiting and waiting. Instead, you pull the back one up by your little stuff, and it's right by the ground. So it's all your little stuff. Shabazz. I don't really care about saving a big thing for last. I don't care about power consumption. Now, I will say that if I decide to go back to a single scrapper, if I have sustainable amounts of power for the double, then I should probably lose a couple of generators and a battery. Because, you know, it seems like maybe I went a little too far then, if I can support 2 scrappers running simultaneously. But we're in optimal lighting right now. You know, we've got daylight, we've got extra generators, we've got wind blowing, so it's hard to judge. Hard to judge the power system. Nope, this one has its own scrap. Cool. So let's roll on in here, like so. Don't turn too hard until more of the car passes that obstacle there. The cap of this little spaceship, y'all. What's that house symbol? Nah. See, what I've done with the 2 scrappers is not necessarily about efficiency. and it's more about just getting the hell out of here. Indeed. Of course, there is still plenty of room to make little mistakes and whatnot, but it doesn't mean we have to sit around all day wondering. Open that. I don't want ceramic. I do want the battery, but we're going to put that there. I only need one of these on me right now. And I only need one of these on me right now. To put that over there, and oh my gosh, look, 6, 7 open slots, whatever, I didn't count. Okay, copper, yeah. Wow, it doesn't want to see it. Oh, there it is. Oh right, I didn't readjust. So I don't know if that's just me, but man, does it seem like they're not fixing it. That wide mod just shuts off for the dumbest reasons, like reloading the game. It's just like, oh, you couldn't possibly want a wide mod on to start with. We'll save your power. And you're like, that's cool, but the boost is still on, and that's less useful in my opinion. It doesn't do it with any of the other mods that I can tell. But the wide mod just shuts off. If I put the wide mod on and then put any other mod on the tool, wide mod shuts off. Now I think I've wasted enough time digging myself out of holes. I'm not going to try to drive blind, and I think there's still some scrap left. Oh, that's my compound. I thought it was putting scrap on the front car first. I'm like, no, don't want. I almost shredded the chair from that little rover, but I thought, you know, if anything happens, if I'm out that way, it'd be nice to have a fully functional vehicle right there for whatever reason, rather than, hey, where's a chair? Absolutely nowhere, and you have no way to make one. Although all you need is 3 compound. Well, plus resin to make a table for the battery. I don't know. I don't think it would work out. I wonder if you can put, if you have to run off a battery, you know, you need a table. I wonder if you can put a small fabricator where the seat goes on the small rover, the buggy, and use the battery of the buggy itself or mounted on one of the rear power slots. I'll have to experiment with that. That could be fun. And yes, I know the machine is called the shredder. I refer to the activity as scrapping. It makes scrap, so that seems just as apropos as calling it shredding. And, you know, Ninja Turtles' villain was the Shredder. I'm not him. I'm not a villain, man. I'm a good little astronaut. So, I like scrapping. I'm scrappy. I'm a scrappy astronaut. I just love the rear-mounted one here. That's way too much fun. It's kind of cool looking. Kind of a bubble butt look. Whatever that means for you. Lots of fun. Plus it opens up 2 extra places to put medium storages. Unless you can put a large storage on the back of the rover, which I've heard of people glitching that into happening, but I have enough problems with glitches just happening. I haven't heard back from the devs or anybody else regarding stuff getting stuck in the shredder, small items. Now, it seems like it will shred an empty canister, but not a full one. If you stick a power cell into it it will like suck the power out of it every once in a while when you put other stuff in, but it takes a while. And you kind of have to do this cycling sequence nonsense, and it's a huge pain. It really seems like they don't want you to. If this was intentional, I'm not accusing anybody of anything here by any means. Um, it could be a bug, or it could be just their way of saying, hey, you can make a canister out of resin, and you can make resin out of dirt, and then you scrap it, and that means that once you have a trade tower and shredder, you pretty much don't ever have to leave the planet again, except for gas, which I like. But, it seems like they made it to where you can only trade scrap on the trade tower specifically, so you still have to go to other planets. Because I haven't found any iron on Terra, and you need it to build the shredder, and you need it to build the trade tower, I believe. Could be wrong there. I feel like I remember that being part of it. So they want you to leave the planet at least a few times, see the other stuff. They don't want you to hear from your friend, oh yeah, you can just do everything from the first planet. No, they want you to see the other planets from the point of view of a survivalist. Not once you've already done everything and you've got unlimited resources and you're on vacation. I think they want they want the other planets to be part of the struggle, and I think we're going to see more of that as we go along. As we get closer and closer to that 1.0 update, we're going to see things that get you going, things that get you out and away, reasons to leave the base, reasons to build multiple bases. Maybe one side of Terra will be full of all the, one kind of resource, but if you really want to get, just tons and tons of copper, maybe it's not so plentiful in the future. Maybe eventually you're going to have to go much further away for it. Who knows? They may force you to build bases all over Terra. Well, not force, but, encourage. And I can totally see how they don't want, hey, hydrazine and glass and quartz. Well, that wasn't totally useless. I got me a hydrazine can. I think if I put hydrazine in the shredder, it will explode, as we saw the other shredder explode earlier when I applied dynamite to it. Now, I almost did that differently. If I had had more access to sulfur, which I would have to get from another planet, rather than what I did, which is just, run around underground until I found dynamite, because I was pretty sure I saw it, and I'm hoping my buddy hadn't detonated all of it. So I ran around and found some, but if I had left the planet, I was going to make a few pieces, a few different dynamites, and, excuse me, that was gross. See how far away I could get and try to only, when I had the broken shredder on the back before, try to just destroy the broken shredder. So I had an oxygen tank stuck on it, and since the oxygen tank only takes up one slot, I had the other slot still open on the full-size shredder there. And so I stuck an empty air tank in it, and it seemed to shred it fine, but then it glitched and crashed the game, and I had to restart. If you were here, if you see that happen earlier, where I'm screwing around with the air tank jammed one, that's what happened there. I stuck an empty air tank in, and it seemed to shred it fine, and then it crashed. I used the similar technique for getting it unstuck with the power cells, but the power cells would slowly drain as you ran it around and around. The oxygen tank did not drain, so it just stayed there. And it's like, what? The shredder can't shred, what, oxygen? Because that's the only difference from a full to an empty one. Unless, having the canister full somehow puts so much pressure on the outside that it actually makes the metal just a little too dense to chop up. Or maybe there's so much flame in there and we're in a low oxygen environment that if it were to try to shred an oxygen tank, it would fuel the fire too much and burn it up. Which I'd like to see, honestly. I want to see oxygen flare-ups for things that are already hot. Maybe that's not as logical as I'm under the impression it is at the moment. I'm sure I could sit here and reason out whether or not that would actually be applicable in the current scenario. But it's not my world. Leave that to the people in charge. See, now there's no waiting. I dropped this thing in. See, this is the research computer, the broken research. Remember, they used to be a lot bigger. And then they introduced the shredder, and you still couldn't do anything with them. But then they shrank it down, and now it's a fairly hefty chunk of shredding. It's no BS. So it makes me think that, it's dense with things that don't want to get shredded too easily. I don't think I need more tethers. I think 2 bundles is good for surface exploring. If I intended to go underground more, then yeah, we'd look into taking some more of these tethers with us. Where is the backpack? I thought I saw it, and now I don't. Hello? Is it under the car? It's probably under the car. Anyway. Alright. So I'm kind of enjoying having the 2 scrappers, even though I'm not taking full advantage of it just yet, but I feel like I'll get a groove going. I think having access to it will push my technique as far as, running around, digging little things out of the dirt, gathering it up, piling it up, I didn't need to before. There's no reason to worry about it. Oh, let's go ahead and drop a beacon. Do I need more of that? I don't think so. I think we're okay. Oh god, I love these smoothies. So I've been drinking strawberry blueberry smoothies for the longest time with a little bit of peanut butter and yogurt, but mostly water for to fill it in. And I started getting into eating peaches recently, just mad amounts of peaches. Just all of a sudden started having stupid cravings for peaches all the time. And one of the bags of peaches I bought, they weren't as ripe as I thought they were. Still kind of getting used to the peach inspection guidelines and parameters. And, managed to get one ripe peach, but the first one I bit into was just not ripe at all. So I sliced it up, stuck in the freezer, and thought, screw it, I'll throw it in with some smoothies. And it was really good, so I started getting some pineapple and peach to put in just for the smoothies. Boy, did that turn out great. I haven't really adjusted the peanut butter yet. The peanut butter and the pineapple kind of clash a little bit, but it's still tasty. And of course, adding some citrus to it makes it a bit more of a lively drink rather than just a nice sugary sweet. I get that vitamin C kick. I don't know, pineapple's got vitamin C in a decent quantity, right? Feels like it. And the peach is delicious and has its own, not super dense with vitamins, but as far as I remember, I could be wrong, but just really tasty, really good feeling, not like double bacon cheeseburger good feeling, but definitely a longer lasting good feeling. No guilt, none of that lethargic, can't believe I ate the whole thing feeling. And I don't feel guilty when I do eat double bacon cheeseburger with ketchup and onions and 3 pieces of meat and whatever the hell I want on it. Put some fried cheese sticks in there, some fried mozzarella, just go bananas. Because I don't do it very often. And I eat lots and lots of smoothies instead of full-blown meals. Graphite's underground. Ammonium, yes. Titanite, sure. Laterite, why not? Organic, get out of here. You literally can't run out of organic. I don't think it's possible. I don't think you can get enough people on one planet to eradicate grass fast enough that it won't grow back. I think as soon as you walk away, it's just start growing back too fast for you to keep up. I believe it would be impossible. Right. This is not the way I want it to go. I'm trying to keep a fairly straight line. I want to end up back at the base. And this is a predominantly blue line. And then I'm going to cut over a little bit and do different color rings around the planet, right? So you circumnavigate the planet several times. And that way you can get as much of the scrap as possible in these areas. Did I miss a piece? Feels like I missed a piece, but I think it's just in the ditch that disappears. When the ships are next to the ditches like that, there's just no debris. It's almost like the algorithm for the tunnels happens afterward and just eats through the debris rather than just having it fall into the ditch. It just eats it, it seems. Not sure how their procedures work. Not sure how any kind of programming really works other than just knowing some basic code concepts from back in the day. But yeah, if your shipwreck is next to a ditch, you end up missing pieces rather than just having to look a little bit harder for them. I guess it doesn't really matter either way, because unless it's one of the really nice expensive ones, I don't really want it anyway. Oops. Is it visible? But like on the mountains here, you can end up without a lot of it. It'll just be gone. Should I have grabbed an extra air tank for this? I think I'm okay. Don't care about graphite. A piece of titanite got lost because I tried to put it into a full backpack, and you know how it just vanishes from existence at that point. You have to actually get a visual on it and put the cursor on it. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like looking for it. It's somewhere in between the layers of the ship, and I just don't care. So off we go. Alright. Oh, yes. Now, I do use sweetened vanilla yogurt. It's not like I'm on the strictest of diets here. And it's not a small smoothie either. It's pretty tall. One of those magic bullet cups, but it's the taller deluxe version with the handle. I think they're like 20 ounces or something. I don't know. It's huge. It's obnoxious. But it's blended up. It's all fruit with a little bit of peanut butter and yogurt. Make sure there's some protein in it. Yeah, I don't eat a whole lot else other than, you know, canned soup and chili for quick meals when I need something a little more substantial and proteined. Let's not push it. Should have gone to the other side. Alright, there we go. I think that's going to be a good spot for scrapping. Hopefully nothing falls in, but I don't know, maybe people are entertained by watching other people dig their cars out. Like, hey, this guy's been playing for 1,200 hours and he still drives his rover into enormous ravines. It's not just me. If that's all my stream channel is good for, is letting people know that, you know, not so bad. Okay. Alright. Oh, the glass up here. Let's put this here. Let's put that there. But yeah, it's really helped, you know. I don't have a scale, I don't weigh myself, but I'm definitely a lot thinner than I was before, and it's nice. It's nice. It took a while to transition to just a smoothie for a meal. I was eating little frozen frozen cheesy sausage biscuits, you know, from the grocery store, the generic brand too. And they're starting to give me a little bit of a stomach ache. And I thought maybe I'm not chewing them up enough. Maybe I'm not drinking enough water ahead of time. Maybe I need to do a little exercise in the morning. And no matter what it was, I always just felt like, ugh, like I'd eaten some chopped up, you know, brick dust or something like that. It was terrible. And it wasn't really affecting my stomach after that. It was just, you know, a good hour or two of discomfort, of just really feeling like I ate something that wasn't food. And I tried some other things in the mornings, little things, and finally it's just gotten to the point where I can even drink coffee in the morning without eating anything until about noon or so, and then I have a smoothie, and then I'm good till about 4 or 5 o'clock. And then I'll have something easy like a Hot Pocket or a can of soup, something small. Uh, if I'm really hungry though, if I really want to eat something, I'll just have crackers or chips with my soup. Kind of fill it out a little bit, but keep it controllable. Like I'm not making 2 cans of soup and then it's like, oh, I only wanted 1.5. So, yeah, now it's just one giant smoothie on every day until about 5 o'clock. That's all I eat. And a cup of coffee and about a liter or 2 of water. I try to drink about 2 liters of water a day. And not because 2 liters is a special number or because I'm a huge fan of the metric system. It's just I have this bottle and it's got liter marks on the side. And well, it's a 1 liter bottle, but it's got the milliliter marks across it, and it's just handy. I do a 15-minute bike ride pretty much every weekday, uh, weather permitting, etc. Although I got to admit, the sun doesn't stop me that much. I got acclimated to the sun pretty quick this year and just kind of kept going. The rain will stop me because I don't trust other drivers. You know, I got to spend some time in the road, and even though it's a mountain bike and I should have better traction than any street bike would, uh, I just don't trust it, so I will take the rainy days off. I keep my bike pretty well oiled, so I'm not worried about it rusting or anything. Keep it oiled, dry it off, store it inside, etc. But yeah, 15 minutes of bike riding and smoothie time. Midnight snacks. Midnight snacks, I'll eat a whole peach or some chips and salsa. And I get the really spicy salsa, just spicier than I want it. I get the habanero salsa. Uh, 3 alarm. It's 3 pepper levels out of 3. It's super spicy. I love habanero. It's delicious. Every habanero salsa I've had, whether it's citrus habanero like mango, pineapple, or just straight liquid fire Louisiana habanero sauce, I'm just like, man, give me more. But it will stop me. It will stop me in my tracks when I'm trying to lay down and relax and I'm eating the liquid fire. So little things to help control my appetite until I get better habits developed. And it's starting to happen. It's starting to get better habits. Loving it. It is not where I want that thing, but it's where it needs to be. It's not the beacon side I want, but it's the beacon side I need. It's the Bat Beacon. And screw whoever was responsible for not bringing Tim Burton back into Batman, because let's face it, I read somewhere George Clooney was a late stand-in for Val Kilmer because Val Kilmer bailed on doing a second Batman movie at the last minute. And I was just kind of like, that's like saying, hey man, I know you need a quarter, and I told you I had a dime, but now all I have is these two nickels. It's like George Clooney, Val Kilmer Batman didn't make a huge difference to me. George was a better Bruce, blah blah blah, who cares? Michael Keaton was the best. And it's like, oh, but he didn't play the socialite very well. It's like Bruce Wayne didn't play a socialite very well. He hated that crap. The only time he liked being a socialite was for charity. And even then, it was just like, get me out of here, gritting my teeth, I'm smiling, and I hate this because I'm a tormented person who grew up without parents, and I've got all this money, and I don't know what to do with it for myself because my parents weren't there to teach me how to spoil myself like a rich person, and so I just give it away and make toys to help people. Let's face it, Batman doesn't need his toys. That's just so Alfred will keep helping him. It's like, no, look, Alfred, it's safe, I swear. I've got this neat toy, right? And he's like, oh, yes, of course, Master Bruce, you'll be fine then. No, Michael Keaton had it down. He had it down. He had the torment. He had the cynicism. And he had the gruff voice. Wasn't a big Christian Bale Batman fan, sorry. Sorry, CB. I know you really enjoyed doing it and they kept bringing you back, and I'm like the only person on planet Earth who's just like absolutely doesn't want to see those movies. For the Batman. Now, I heard the one with Bane was great. And I was like, yeah, but Bane, that's not what Bane was like. And then it's like, no, the Val Kilmer Bane was the Bane that wasn't what Bane was like. And the Christian Bale's Bane was supposedly the more accurate one, which I didn't know. But I just remember, you know, Uma Thurman prancing around in that little green getup, dusting Bane every once in a while, and making all her funny little one-liners, which I thought was hilarious, but not wildly notable as a character either. I know in the cartoons we got some fun Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn pairings. That was a lot of fun, and we really don't get that in the movies. You know, they see, that's the thing. People are like, where's Harley Quinn in the movies? Where's Harley Quinn in the movies? I totally get it. Okay? Their relationship is messed up. It's awful. It's crazy. They're just a couple of nutty people, and like they're like traumatized to each other. And it's not something everybody wants to put in a movie. And on top of that, you know, like even in the cartoon, the Joker was physically abusive to Harley a couple times. Not like excessively, but it was there. Like he, you know, one time they're robbing a jewelry store, because they're just like, oh, Batman's gone, whatever reason, you know. This is the one where Luke Skywalker is the voice of the Joker, old Hamill, Mark Hamill, and the Joker's just like, it's not fun though. You know, there's nobody coming to, there's no resistance, there's no challenge. Like, I'm the Joker. Without a Batman, I can do whatever I want. And Harley's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And she comes out wearing all these jewels, and she's like, we got everything now. We don't have to rush. We can get whatever we want. It's all ours. And Joker's like, nah, put it back. There's no challenge, no fun. Just put it all back. We're getting out of here. And she's like, no, no, no. And he goes, put it back, Harley. Knocks her to the ground, and she's like, okay, this is me putting it back. And I'm just like, whoa, this is a kid's show. What's going on? Like, what the hell just happened? This is a cartoon, for crying out loud. Luke Skywalker just knocked Harley Quinn down for doing what they do, for doing their thing. And yeah, so I can see, you know, bringing that to the movies when you've got people like, you know, rest in peace, Heath Ledger playing the Joker. As dark as he went, do you really want to see how dark that goes with his twisted relationship? I don't think so. I don't think most people would have wanted that. It definitely would have, you know, I mean, they already pushed the whole family-friendly thing with the language and the violence, and some people don't care, some people are okay with it, that's fine, you know. Make your own decision, let your kids see it. If kids are watching, what's his face, Deadpool, you know, then, you know, I can see a little violent, swearing Batman excessiveness not being a whole lot different. You know, the Joker's Heath Ledger was great. You know, the how I got these scars routine, the way he played it was fantastic, and I don't want to talk about him all day long, but boy, could I! Just enjoyed that performance way too much. But yeah, totally see how Jared Leto's Joker can have his Harley Quinn, but not Heath Ledger's Joker. um, I don't, I just don't think it would have been considered very much of an entertainment thing. It probably would have seemed a little smutty, if nothing else, to just have her anywhere near it. I mean, you're either going to ignore the kind of relationship they truly had, which is a disservice to, you know, whether you're, however you feel about it, you know, it's like, what are we, victim blaming by just removing the victimhood from the relationship? Or are we going to actually show somebody as psychotic as Heath Ledger's Joker in that relationship? And so, I don't know. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. Um, Maybe there's some timeline stuff I'm missing. Maybe it had to do with, you know, uh, the actual story, you know, the Batman universe. I'd love some feedback on that if anybody has any input there. I think that'd be pretty interesting. Be a fun discussion to have. Jack Nicholson's Joker. He could have had a Harley, I think. I mean, he was bananas, but he still had an air. He was a more intellectual Joker, obviously, right? If he was gonna abuse you, it was gonna be mentally, not physically. Whereas I think if we saw an abusive side of, well, Jared Leto's Joker was just kind of a jackass, in my opinion, kind of a teenage Joker. Not that that has anything to do with why it was relatably popular. But yeah, Heath Ledger's Joker was a lot more physical, a lot more hands-on, but definitely had words for his actions. I wouldn't have wanted to see it. I would have really just not enjoyed that at all. Anyway, it just sucks that you have to write a character out because you don't want to have to explain psychology to a bunch of 6-year-olds whose idiot parents are going to take them to see a not just rated R movie, but a clearly necessary R-rated movie. I'm all about freedom, letting people do their own thing, but it's just like people don't even pay attention to these movies when they're in there. They're on their phone, you know, staring at Instagram, and oh, sorry, I didn't, I didn't sound the alarm. Old man rant coming. If we're not already too deep into it, I just hadn't even realized how old man ranty I was already being. But yeah, yeah, would not have been good. Would not have turned out well. I think they would have caught a lot of flack. Even though parents are the ones bringing their kids to the movies, they would have been like, well, you have to expect parents to ignore the obvious suggestions that people put on their own products. And it's like, warning labels. They're called warning labels. It's rated R. It's a warning label. You know, you can't sue Clorox anymore because they have a label on there that says don't drink it. If it gets on you, wash it the hell off. You know, but oh, if you put something in a movie that says, you know, nobody under 18, and it's just like, oh, well, you shouldn't have put that in there because it's Batman. And I'm just like, yeah, but no, not at all. Absolutely not. If you're not going to watch a movie before you let your kid watch it, that is on you. And I would say 100% because the option exists. And if you're like, well, I don't have time to go watch a movie, and then my kid's got a babysitter, and then I'm going to take my kid to go see it, and I don't have the money or the time, and it's like, cool, DVD. Netflix. PG rated movies, you know? Isn't there a website that tells you, like, you start a timer at the beginning of the movie, and it tells you, like, when all the things are gonna happen so you can, like, distract your kid really quick so they don't see any of the boobs or the blood or anything like that? There's got to be a website. It's like you start your timer and it's just like, oh, here comes nudity, and you're like, ah, crap. And you're just like, hey, you need to go to the bathroom? Look over here, look over here. I'm going to cover your eyes now. If something like that's not functional because there's too many incidents that you would have to use it for during a movie, then you probably just shouldn't have the kid there anyway, right? Not telling people how to raise their kids, but man, do I think there's some people out there who could use some suggestions that will just absolutely never take it because their parents were like, don't tell me how to raise my kid, but never explained to their child what context they were saying that in, and how, there are totally perfectly reasonable times when somebody tells you something and you're like, oh, right, I wasn't thinking, rather than just hearing a catchphrase and then repeating it every opportunity that you possibly can. It's like your kid's running around in circles in the middle of the grocery store and you're pretending it's not happening, and he just knocked over an old lady and you're just like, ha 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 ha, ha, whatever, kids. And it's like, no, you're responsible for that. And it's like, don't tell me how to raise my kid. It's like, well, actually, you brought your kid out into public, so yeah, I'm going to have some suggestions. Casual or otherwise. Of course, we can always refer that back to Wheaton's Law. Just in general, don't be a dick. And if your kid does misbehave in public, guess what? That's you. That's you. You can't blame the kid. Like, oh, well, he's always been like that. It's like, we've tried. It's like, no, you didn't. No, nah, nope. You did something, or you didn't do something, or you decided you would never do something, and, you abstract that out, and then all of a sudden you act like it doesn't even, options don't even exist anymore, and so you can stand on these excuses. Nope. If your kid does something in public, that is you. It might as well be you doing it. Screaming at the top of your lungs, knocking stuff over, bumping into people, sneezing and coughing on people without covering up. Like when I see kids doing that and the parents are just like, ha ha ha, whatever. I'm like, it's the same as if you did it, only just slightly smaller volume. So screw you. Stop acting like you can just drag your little monsters out into public and let them do whatever they want. People are supposed to be okay with it because you're perpetuating the species. What's up, Mr. Kitty? You tired of hearing my voice? What? What's up? What you say, Mr. Kitty? I didn't hear you. Oh, I heard that. Little scooter cat. So cute. Alright, I think I've gotten all the decent sized chunks. I'm gonna dial down the rants for a little bit. There's a lot of scrap going on in that one location. Easy to get off. Ooh, get off on different topics. Back to the car, and we're gonna wait for the storm. Alright. There we go. Looks like it's starting to clear up. That's a gone down smoothie. Where's the beacon? It's that way, right? Is it in the clouds? Oh, look at me. Ta-da! Forgot about it, chat. So yeah, if I decide to build another rover for to replace the second scrapper with just a straight storage, that won't be hard. That'll be pretty easy, I think. Oh, I don't need organic. And I think I'll be able to lose a few generators when I do. SpongeBob always folds his pants up when he walks around in the nude. And it's like, wait. I can understand if maybe he casually mentioned that, but she sounded so certain of the always, like she could verify it. And she's hanging out with him during these times, like, I don't know. I get that sponges are pretty anatomically simple critters, so maybe the pants are just a courtesy so he's not bragging about walking around naked. But that's pretty weird. Pretty weird. SpongeBob. Everything about that show is weird. It's everything. If something about that show wasn't weird, that would be weird. So, refer to rule number 1. Part too close. It's okay, I can kind of see it through here. And then we'll just do that. Okie doke. Another medium storage. A new car! Oh, no, never mind. No cars. So much graphite. Like, this planet's chock full of graphite. And all these ships have graphite in them, and it's like, wait, did they crash on liftoff trying to get out of here with the graphite they found? Or did they just really not survey the planet at all? And they're like, oh, I'll just bring way too much of a resource that you don't need for anything. Except for the really advanced stuff. What, graphene, you know? Alright, let's get out of this hole. Jabberjaw ain't moving. Singing in the rain. Goodbye. So much treasure. Guess I could kind of start to organize it since I'm finding a ton of titanium again. It's almost to the point where I'm just not going to be picking up a lot of titanium because I think I've got like 8 or 10 pieces back at the base. So if I end up with like 3 pallets of titanium, I may just start leaving it places. I don't know. we'll see. We'll see what comes along recipe wise. You know, if they do an update that adds some titanium costing things and it doesn't break all the old saves, I may be glad I saved it. Maybe. Maybe, maybe. Ooh, look at that little piece. Scrappy. I'm scrappy. I'm scrappy. Oh, solar panel. Wow, we almost got a full set. Look at that. I think I need one more solar panel. One more little solar. Oh, look. Titanite. Oh, that's a... Okay, well, we'll put this one over here so I can just drop that on the smelter when we get back. Oh, don't need 2 batteries. Okay. Well, so that's what scrapping's like nowadays. It's a good idea to bring tons and tons of storage. Uh, by the time you actually get around to scrapping, there's a good chance you're not going to have a lot left to research. And if you do, you can certainly build on the fly little research stations, although I am finding small generators here and there, so it's not out of the question. Just a little bit different, a little bit different. I am finding a lot of glass already smelted out here. So it's not like I couldn't make wind generators if I wanted to. And just make some research stations to abandon. But I am quite full, quite full. Get swifty, get swifty, get swifty. Da-doo-ba-doo. Just lots and lots of bases still. They're just everywhere. I can't wait to find bigger ones. I can't wait to find variety in these. I don't know why I drive through the base. I always end up parking on top of the door or something big. Let's just wagon train this thing. That should be good. There. Don't burn, don't shred your power cells. Wow, that's a perfectly intact table, which I totally could have just noticed and not tried to get stuff out from under it. That was awkward. A little slippy slidey. Okay, there's a wind. Now, I really should just start grinding up the wind generators. And let's face it, even if you can't effectively grind up backpack stuff like the containers, the canisters, the air tank, stuff like that, you can still make quartz. And all you need is a smelter, which you can totally... Look, it's blowing as it's dying. Oh, so sad. It's like, no, but I work. I do a good job, don't I? Don't I? Why do you hate me? Why? I'm melting. Ah. Anywho. So ever since I mentioned it, part of my brain on the back burner has been trying to imagine who the hell from the 1980s, early 90s would have been a good Harley Quinn for Jack Nicholson's Joker. I'm stuck. My brain's been stuck on it ever since I brought up how, like, oh, that would have been fine if he had a Harley Quinn because it was more psychological. So, it wouldn't have been as horrifying for people because kids would have had a harder time understanding what was happening, so it wouldn't have, like, been as traumatizing for them to see as, some kind of physical abuse. But who the hell would it have been? Who could have been the Harley Quinn from back then? I'm focused on scrapping, so I'm having a hard time coming up with ideas. I mean, she was a little bit younger than him. She was a She was a psychologist, psychiatrist. She was a brain doctor. Um, Energetic, kooky. I don't know. Who could it be? Who could it be? Believe it or not, Harley's not that evident. Hey, a bat tray. Soon I can grind those up too. I'll have too many of them. But yes, eventually my vehicle here will not be, will be wildly different, I believe. Oh, that's the computer. The catalog. So when I get to where I want to start destroying planets, dirt farming, this will be a drill vehicle, and it will have a smelter on it, and I will turn the dirt into stuff like windmills, turn it into quartz for windmills. I call them windmills and fans, the small wind generators. It's like, I don't care. I don't care what you call it. I'm not the grammar police. I ain't your mama. But I will make fun of you and go, huh? If I don't know what the hell you're saying. So yeah, smelter, drill, and the scrapper. Oh, and the centrifuge, the extractor, of course. So that's 4 machines. That's 2 cars right there. Although you could still get a medium storage on one of them since I put the scrapper on the back end like that. Normally I put generators on the back end there where that other scrapper is on the back. That's why I have these 2 panels of 8 solar panels. It's not the most efficient way to do this, right? These perform much better with when they're flat on the back right here because your solar panels are flat with the horizon, so they get a full 180 degrees, capturing the sun pretty much the entire time that it's up unless your car is tilted away from it one way or the other. But up here, they miss a lot of sun, unless you're driving with the direction of the sun, right? so not super efficient, but I already had them made. I didn't realize you could put the scrapper on the shredder on the back like that. And I'm like, well, what do I want to do? You know, they've tightened up the economy of the game quite a bit. Do I want to destroy them and just make more medium wind generators? Nah. I thought, nah, I'll go back to the old school style that I used to do, like that, which I think is just cool looking. I used to do it because it was cool looking, but then I played the game long enough that I wanted more function out of it. Can't just drive with the sun all the time. Well, those things just slam right out. I think it's funny that a broken tether that you find that's been chewed up by the elements, um, all by itself, looks like it's missing bits and pieces, not just coming apart, but actually like less than it was before. You can shred them. But when it comes to a complete tether that you make, or even a bundle of tethers, does not shred. And it makes you wonder, it's like, are my tethers made out of something else that they don't work? It doesn't shred right? I don't get it. Is there something that time and wind and sun pulls out of the tether, like some kind of explosive gas that's made out of compound somehow? I don't know. I don't know. I don't expect 100% realism, but you know, when the inconsistency doesn't even require appealing to the outside laws of physics, it's just within the game that it seems inconsistent with itself. That's when I will raise my hand and ask the question that I know the teacher's gonna hate me for asking. And everybody's gonna groan, and they're like, who cares? Hey, look at that, I went around the whole planet. That is circumnavigated. It's probably really ugly, piss poor job of it. I may have actually gone way off and only done like like one side of the line is 30% or 40% of the planet, the other side's 60, so the distance is much shorter. Like it just kind of went around the top of the head. Okay. Well, that has been a good hour. I went from being dead to recovering my vehicle from the gorge. The vehicle wasn't that deep. It was still mostly on above ground, but I built a platform under it with a ramp up. That way the platform was under the lowest part of the rover that was pitched into the ditch. And then I built a flat platform way bigger than it needed to be, just in case it fell, you know. Well, not bigger than it needed to be, just bigger than the rover needed for a catch. I could have angled it in if I really wanted to get meticulous, if I was really concerned, but I wasn't. Just built the flat platform, dug the rest of the dirt out so it all landed on the one platform flat, and drove it up the ramp. And then continued to finish circumnavigating the planet, and there you have it. That building the rover took about 10 times longer than getting around the planet with it. Okay, I don't usually do beacons backwards, but I'm going to put that one down, and then I'm going to run out here to where that other one was. Hopefully I can still see it. Should have grabbed another air tank. How many times have I said that today? Should have grabbed another air tank. Oh, that's parts of the planet. I'm like, what's going on over there? Ho wacky. Sorry, that's pretty bright. Pretty obnoxious. I don't see it. I'm gonna run out of air. Could have at least brought a resin with me to turn into I don't see any. One thing I hate about the yellow grass is that it's not resin. There's some. I know it's a slightly different color. Don't need these anymore. Don't need that any ever. Plenty of battery to make some more of these things. Oh, right, I dropped it. Believe it or not, George isn't at home. Where could he be? Alright, well, I'm going to drop a couple more beacons here. And that's going to do it for a little while. I'll probably come back with some Paladins later. We'll see what happens. Should be just over this hill. Where is it? Where is it? There's more resin if I need it. Wow, I drove way too far without dropping a beacon. Well, you know what? I'll go back and do it later. A dozenth cars. A dozenth cars no mores. But we'll make it easier to get there from the other direction. I hate how specifically picky it is with the cursor over items in your backpack. I see people in the forums complaining all the time, I can't get to the stuff in my backpack. And I'm like, well, it may be that, like, it seems to degrade the size of the access box to clicking on items in your backpack. It seems to react to a smaller and smaller zone, and it's not centered, it's offset to the left for me every time. It's left and a little bit up. And it seems to get smaller and smaller. And I think that's what's happening. Because I don't know if it ever actually disappears, but it might just get too small to where people are just like, I can't, what? It's not work. It's not thing. And I can totally see that even if, you know, they're just like saying it doesn't work because they're tired of it only kind of working, I'm like, okay, I get it, but let's address the problem here. I don't know if it's resolution or scaling or what. Anywho. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, yeah. Let's do a thing. Let's do a thing. Let's do a thing. Let's do a da 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 da. Choo cha choo, chum chum chum, chibabadoo, shaboopady, shababady bapadoo, bow, bady bow, bada boom, bum, boom. Yeah, it looks like I went off to the side and only sort of circumnavigated the globe. But I may have just taken a lot of funky angles, who knows. It could be a shorter or longer line, or enough of both to kind of even out. You know, zigzagging, but not quite circumnavigating. Anyway, home sweet hizzy. Shazizelzo. And we're home again. Ta-da. I'm going to go ahead and do the extra safe. and farewell.